What's good, everybody? Welcome into your Week 7 Mega NFL preview right here. This is the Early Edge. We are powered, as always, by Sportsline, and I can't tell you how proud I am of so many of you in the chat. As we look at it before the show starts, you're already telling everybody, hit that like button today. We're going to make it very, very simple. We're going to give away one Sportsline membership for every 100 likes that we get on the show. Also, my producer, Johnny, always watching. He's trying to see who's the most active, who's the most positive. You just never know. We're going to give out a random membership to SportsSlam. Now, here's what we do on this show. If you are new to this program, that we give our official picks to try to beat the line early on Tuesday. Then we go through every single game on the board for this week. Also, if you look at how things have gone the last few weeks, my guy RJ White, 18-8. Matty Severance, also over 500. This is the show you want to beat the number. Period. End of story. All right, let's look at our schedule for the week. Because as you know, we are incredibly busy. The grind never stops. In fact, I just landed, drove straight here. We're already doing the show. We're not like Ben Simmons. We do our job. We show up. So we got this show, Mega Preview, every Tuesday. Wednesday, our college football Mega Preview. Then Thursday, counting down to Thursday Night Football. Friday, of course, our prop special with Prop Stars and Dave Richard. Then Sunday, 2 different 1-hour shows at noon Eastern and 7:20 Eastern time. Now, if you don't follow our YouTube channel, we're only 13 subscribers away from 17,000. That's an amazing number for a show as young as this one is. So if you haven't subscribe right now. Let's get to 17,000 before the end of the show. You already see the stars. These are my guys, the sharpest guys in the absolute business. Right at the top of the screen, we call him M-Squared. Mikey, great call last night, not only on the Titans, but great analysis on Mike Vrabel. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Coach. Yeah, it's a fun day for me. This is still one of my favorite shows of the week. Definitely the one I recommend everyone watch. But exciting day. We got the NBA returning tonight as well. Can't discount that. Busy day. Playoff baseball. First pitch in 2 minutes, I believe. So
that's exactly
I'll try to keep my focus over here. But
I got my iPad. I got the game on right here. We have to multitask because, as always, we have picks all over the board. The soccer just got done with Martin Green. Every sport right now is in session. Every sport, which is amazing. RJ White, good afternoon, my stoic one. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm not great coming off of last week. Took a bath last week, and I know the books, had a pretty bad one too. So when those ugly dogs aren't cashing and favorites are lining up and covering all over the early slate, I'm typically going to have a bad week. So looking to get back on track here. I don't think it's going to be a trend. I think it was 2016 where it was just the public was cashing every single week, and it was just a hard year to get through. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think we're going to get some inflated lines and be good taking some of these dogs.
And if anybody can find those inflated lines, it is you, my friend. Excited to have you back this week. Matty Severance. Hello, sir. What's good?
Yeah, talking to a couple of my offshore cohorts, they said it was going to be the worst Sunday in their regular season history. If
really?
The Bills had covered. But the Bills losing actually saved them a little bit. But the Sunday was the worst they'd ever had. But then the Bills kind of helped them out a little bit on Monday. So.
Well, here's part of the reason, guys, is when you look at the numbers. I mean, it's kind of staggering. Just week 6 alone, favorites are only 8-6 against the spread. Home teams only 5-9 against the spread. There is no home field advantage this year. For the season, favorites are 9 games below 500. So that tells you all you need to know right there. All right, let's get into it right now. Let's stay active over here in the chat. If you have any questions, throw them in there. I'll get to as many as I can. Dominic, Mitchell, Jason, GK, Jason again. I see all you guys. Appreciate everybody and the ladies tuning in for our Week 7 Mega Preview. All right, so here's what we do at the beginning of the show. We give our official picks for the show and then get into every single game. So, RJ, I know you want to bounce back. So you can start the show. What do you got for us today, pal?
Yeah, Patriots game is interesting. They're -7 at home against the Jets. Week 2, they were -6.5 at the Jets. I don't know why if the Jets got any better. I mean, they looked pretty terrible last time we saw them. Mac Jones looks like he's getting better to me. So this line just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think it's going up from here. So grab it at 7. Dolphins +2.5. Nobody wants to play the Dolphins now. I played them last week. I feel terrible about that. But Atlanta was 2.5 on a neutral against the Jets, and now they're 2.5 in Miami. I mean, is Miami that much worse than the Jets? I don't think anybody really is worse than the Jets. So that line doesn't really make sense to me. When I did my first run of power ratings, I thought the line was 7 points off, and I said there's something really wrong here. Like I am completely overrating Dolphins, completely underrating Falcons. So I tweaked things, and I still could only make it 4 points. So I think Dolphins are a great play here. Seahawks +5. I know they didn't look great, but the Saints are a middling team. I mean, they dominated the Packers in week 1, have been really a hit or miss since then. I don't think you want to lay 5 with Jameis on the road against anybody, really. And the Seahawks showed in the second half, bouncing back last in that game and making it a game at the end, that I don't think they're a bottom basement team. And I think that's where you have to rate them, is in the basement, if you're going to make this line at 5. So that line doesn't make sense to me. That's why I like the Seahawks. The Raiders -3. I mean, maybe they just kind of got it all together emotionally with the loss of moving on from their coach, and they just played their hearts out. So maybe that one, I'm reading too much into the game, but they look really good. And I don't think Philly's offenses look very good the last few weeks. So Raiders to me are a better team than Philly right now. So only having to lay 3, I think that line's going to be up above 3. So I just wanted to jump on it before it moved off the number.
That was maybe, RJ, the game that surprised me the most last week, because we thought it would have been an emotional letdown, the whole John Gruden stuff, and the Broncos playing at home. They were the team that laid an egg, and the Raiders played inspired football. Derek Carr looked really good. I love that play. So as RJ said, he thinks it's going to go up, so get it in right now. By the way, we always have new viewers. RJ, where can people find your power rankings at, please?
Go to sportsline.com. You'll be able to find them in the analysis section. Just click on analysis at the top. You can select NFL if you want to, filter that a little bit more, and you can scroll down and find them. Or you can follow me on Twitter, RJWhite1. I tweet them out every week when they go up on Tuesday. So you can get them there on my Twitter feed as well.
Low-key and very entertaining Twitter follow. Very low-key, very funny. I laugh all the time. All right, Maddie, I know this is the show where you're like, I really can't make picks on Tuesday, so you don't have any official picks, but you're going to weigh in on all the games, so I've got to skip over you, and I know.
Every game I picked early Sunday, I won. Every game I picked early, I lost. So I'm just with NBA starting and NHL, I'm waiting.
Your process is your process. That's what we say all the time. People always ask me, do you guys all talk through your stuff before? No, everybody does their own thing, and that's what makes the brand so beautiful. Sometimes you're going to have guys that disagree, but that's what this is. All right, M Squared. People love you on this show because you like to give out kind of different picks, things that maybe we're not always thinking about. What do you got for us today?
We've got a whole lot of teasers this week. Some of them you got to plug your nose for. I've got 3 of them here. Did I give 3? No, only 2 with the Texans. There's a third one with the Texans that I'm considering as well. But I'm going to get a ton of questions about the Texans, mostly because the number is different on a few books, and it gets us through it's laughable to call 24 a key number, but here we are. This is a situation where it is kind of a key number in this game. So Caesars is hanging 18.5, which pushes this one to 24.5. I do like the Texans at 24.5. I would still play it at 23.5. 24.5 is a better number. Get that if you can. If you can't, it's still fine at 23.5. Titans plus 11.5. I'm shocked that this line, I get it. The Chiefs looked fine again. The defense looked better, but so did the Titans. The Titans defense looked really pretty good last night. Got enough pressure on Josh Allen. They're getting too many points here. 11.5. We know the way the Kansas City Chiefs play. It is a road game for them. They really kind of struggle to pull away in some of these games. That Washington football team that they beat pretty handily is not a good football team. We're so conditioned to thinking they are because they've had a good defense in the past. They are not. The Titans are much better. So I like the Titans plus 11.5 with the Texans plus 24.5. I like RJ. I find some value in the Dolphins. I think we see a strong overreaction here to the bye weeks and the travel from the London game. So the Falcons are coming off of their London game with a bye week. Now the Dolphins had to play in London. They travel back home. Fortunately, it is a home game for them, but I'm not too worried about it. They're playing a terrible team. This Falcons team is not good. I made the line in this one a pick 'em, which I would assume that RJ probably made it somewhere similar to that as well. Getting 8.5 gets you through some pretty key numbers in the league. So I like them. And then the Ravens, Patriots, just like RJ there. I don't know why that line is -7 and not -8.5 to -9. I think it probably closes -8.5. But I like them at -1, pairing them with Ravens in a division game. Those division games, as we know, can get a little tighter. I do expect them to win the game over the Bengals. They are the better team. Great spot for the Ravens to pick up another win. And then I have a money line parlay where I'm going to parlay the Patriots, Ravens, and the Packers coming back at +120. Great spot for the Packers to continue to win football games. That's what they're going to do against this Washington football team that is just in really, really, really rough shape. So those are the plays I've locked in so far.
I love it. Quick question for Pooh Bear. He wants to know, Mikey, how do you decide which games you're going to parlay?
It's just when I have a model edges on some of the games or one of the games individually. And then one of the other ones will typically be one that I like to win and I have as a neutral value in the model where it's no value to be betting on them against the spread, but they are a team that should win. They typically get roped into those. That's going to be the Ravens in this particular spot. They're going to get thrown into a lot. They're a team that takes care of business, that wins games. Packers, same thing. Big numbers to cover in terms of spreads. Still very high probabilities of winning the actual football games.
All right, very good. Great analysis. Shout out to Charles. I see you. You lost $2K before you found us, and then now you're starting to creep back up. Money management, $100 a bet. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Charles. Now, I told you, my man Johnny, he's always looking for people that are active on the chat. Our first winner today at Harrisonville AZ. At Harrisonville AZ, you just won a year-long membership to Sportsline. You didn't even know you were trying. So let's keep putting our Twitter handles into the chat. Let's keep being active. Keep asking questions. We'll get to as many as we possibly can. Now, our top 5 games of the week. Johnny, let's throw those up. And this is just from a fan perspective, not from a betting perspective. But I want to know which game my guys are most looking forward to. And I picked 5 for you. And here they are. Broncos, Browns, Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, Titans, Bears, Buccaneers, Colts, and 49ers. Matty Severance, which game are you looking most forward to?
I don't really like any of them, to be honest with you. It's kind of a slow week if you ask me, just like in college football, there's no top 25 games. But and I guess you got to say Chiefs, Titans. I'm curious what the Titans are going to do. If they're going to, can they beat the Bills and Chiefs back-to-back? I think we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm probably going to have the highest total of the season. But I don't know I'm not familiar. I watched the game, obviously, but I saw a couple of their secondary guys leave, so obviously that'd be something I have to monitor for betting on it. But yeah, that'd be the one I like. I think sure it'll be the highest scoring game.
Okay. RJ?
I got to look Bengals Ravens. I mean, Bengals upstart team 4-2. I think there's been a lot of doubt with them. Some of these lines, you just wait for the other shoe to drop with the Bengals, like you always do with this team. Anytime they seem to have a hot start, they look like they're finally getting it together. Seems like they start to struggle. But now this is a huge matchup, divisional matchup on the road. Baltimore looks like one of the top 2 or 3 teams, maybe even in the league, not just the AFC, with how they're performing. So this is the measuring stick for the Bengals. If you are good team, you come in, you compete in this game, you might not win it, but you certainly aren't going to get blown out like they have sometimes in the past in these divisional games. So really looking to see how they perform here. And the Ravens kind of measure themselves too. I know they've beat some good teams this year, but you have to take care of these divisional games if you're going to be at the 1 seed, if you're going to go up there and get home field advantage. So really fascinating game on both sides.
Awesome. Faustino's looking at the Colts and the 49ers in the chat. Mikey, what are you looking at?
It's definitely the Chiefs-Titans game. I'm actually a little sad. I live right next door to the stadium here. It's my team, but it's the same weekend as a Formula One race in Austin, Texas, so I will be in Austin for that, but I'll definitely be tuned in. I know. It's sad. I looked at not going to the race and flying home Sunday morning, like doing the morning show, getting on the flight, trying to get there, but I'd rather not miss the shows for everyone here, so we're going to watch this one, unfortunately. But like RJ said, Bengals, Ravens. The Bengals, frankly, they were a lot better last week than we were expecting. I really liked the Lions. I didn't end up playing them as an official play, but I did like the Lions I thought they were live to win the game potentially, just like Jacksonville. They did not show up, but the Bengals team was good. They looked good, which is kind of why I like the Ravens a little bit. I like the Ravens a lot to win the game. I think it's going to be a competitive division game. I think they're going to sneak out a win. It might be a Justin Tucker field goal that gets the job done for them at home. But I think that it's going to be a fun game to watch for sure. And if the Bengals somehow win this game, things are going to be very interesting in that division going forward.
Yeah, things get very, very sticky and fun for us if they do. Rarely this year have we seen teams that go into a game like Detroit and say, you know what, we should beat this team handily if we play well, and then they do it. That's exactly what Cincinnati did. So give them a lot of credit, even though we were opposite them on the Lions, because the Lions have been playing pretty competitive football. All right, let's jump into yeah, go ahead.
Let me comment one more thing on the Browns game. That one's interesting too. You got to watch it. Just they're in a disaster situation. They've got injuries everywhere. They had 20 players on the injury list. Both running backs are out. Odell Beckham and Baker Mayfield could potentially sit in this game. I think that is going to be correlated. I don't think that Baker's going to play if everyone, including OBJ, is out. But if all those guys are out and they lose this game, things get very interesting in that AFC. The way the Chiefs have started out, the way the Bills just dropped that game to Tennessee. The Ravens in a potential, like the AFC playoff picture. I know it's a little crazy to start talking playoffs in week 7, but the AFC playoff picture can get very, very interesting depending on which way a few of these games fall this weekend.
Yeah, now we know with only the one bye that it's so important to finish in that one spot. Kelsey, I see you. Pooh Bear, Nick. Nick, again, so many of you commenting. Thank you so very much. Actually, Mikey, that's the first game we're going into right now, Thursday Night Football. It's very, very interesting. RJ, we're going to start with you. The Broncos had everything right in front of them last week. They were right at the top of the division, playing the Raiders, all kinds of distractions, and then they lay an absolute egg. They go on the road now. Mikey just talked about it. Baker Mayfield, will he play? Will he not play? He says he's going to play, but that shoulder looked nasty falling on it. We already know it was injured. So when you look at this line, 3.5 Browns, total 42.5. RJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Denver laid an egg because they're not very good. They played probably the easiest schedule you could possibly play in the first 3 weeks of the season. We said it last week with the Raiders. It cooled off after a fast start. Denver cooled off after a fast start. But Raiders played a much more difficult schedule, and the Broncos are out there losing to teams that the Raiders beat. So I think the Broncos are still being overrated here. You can't play this right now. You need to know the status of the offensive injuries on Browns before you play it. But I'm hoping that Baker Mayfield actually gets ruled out and does not play, because that line's going to come down, and I think they stand a better chance with Case Keenum at 100% in there healthy, because Case Keenum has shown that he can run an NFL offense. He's not going to come in here and look terrible. So ideally the line gets under 3 with Keenum, and then you bang the Browns there. Because Denver's just isn't good. So wait to play this one, and then hope you get some favorable injury news, which oddly enough would mean the quarterback getting ruled out, which typically you wouldn't say.
Educate and entertain. We tell you all the time, it's about beating the number. Listen to RJ. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you have to get it early. This one, let's wait, see what happens. We would assume by Friday we'll know, maybe even a little bit earlier if Baker's going to go. But I would assume by Friday we would know.
Thursday game.
Oh, God, it would have to be by Thursday. We'd have to be by Thursday. Thank you,
man. It's going to be very windy, too, if you're considering the totals, like 17-mile-an-hour winds. I don't know which direction, but do you like anything in this game, Matty? Speaking of the total, that was my first inclination was the total with if all these guys are going to be out, and especially if it's it's a crosswind or something. So
you would go under. Your inclination is to go under,
even though it's such a small total.
Yeah. Okay.
No respect for Dearness Johnson. Like, come on, put some respect on that guy's name.
Put some respect on his name. Nazem, because every time I type, it disappears. I see you, Nazem. We see you. But there's just a lot of people watching, so the things disappear very, very quickly. So we see you, though. We see you. Mitchell, I see you. D-Lev, I see you. All right, next game, Washington and the Packers. Green Bay. And I thought Aaron Rodgers, and Mikey, I'm going to come to you to start the conversation. I thought he had one of the coolest touchdown reactions last week, telling the entire Chicago landscape, sorry, Matty. He says, I own you. I own you. That was awesome. So they're laying 9.5. Washington coming to town, the total at 49. Mikey, talk to me.
Yeah, this one is interesting. I think it's efficient, honestly. I think it's where the number should be. I can't bet the Packers minus 9.5. They're a team that goes in there. They're going to win the game, and they should, but it's such a big number that the way that they play, I think that they can definitely get backdoored on this one. So I don't have any interest on playing it that way. I already put them in that money line parlay. I do like them to win this game. It is a game that I think that if they're ahead and running away with it, they could elect to rest some of the players just a little bit because they have an absolutely miserable schedule coming up. Just brutal schedule coming up. I want to pull it up.
Who do they got? Talk to
us. They play Arizona on Thursday in week 8. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the way, they have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL the rest of the
At
way.
Kansas
Let me
City
grab
after
it.
that. So you got
Right,
at
it
Arizona,
goes,
at Kansas City.
and then home versus Seattle. They play the Vikings, the Rams, the Bears, at the Ravens versus the Browns. They just have an
Wow.
absolutely
Take
miserable.
the Bears out of there, dude.
You take the
They're
Bears out of
division
there,
games,
Mikey.
man. They're division
That's right.
games, but
That's right. That's right.
they have a brutal schedule. So if they're ahead and cruising in this one, they've been giving AJ Dillon a little bit more work. I expect him to get some more work. They might take it easy on Devontae Adams. I think that they win the game. I think the number is appropriate. Like if you get it under 8 somehow, like if we had crazy movement, which frankly, if the defense for Washington was where we thought they were early in the season, based off last season, this line probably would be 6.5 or 7.5. That's how far the Washington football team has fallen. But the only way that I could play the Packers on the spread is if it was all the way down to -7.5. And I don't see it getting there. So, if you want to play it in a teaser, I guess you can, but I'm not super interested. Just like the Ravens, I think they comfortably win the game, but I don't think that they're going to necessarily be a lock to cover that spread.
Yeah, and that teaser, when you take it down, is only going to be at 3.5. That's not a good number either for a teaser. So it almost feels like a stay away a little bit. Sportsline question in the chat: should Aaron Rodgers be in the MVP conversation? Maddie, what do you think?
Oh, of course, he's in it every year. I think the question should be, should Ron Rivera be worried about his job, or should he go to Kyle Allen? Because Taylor Heineke isn't getting it done the last 2 weeks. Keeps dumping off. I don't know if it's his decision or the offensive coordinator's guy to throw it 5 yards at a time, but I guess Ryan Fitzpatrick won't make it back this week, but perhaps the following week. But yeah, Rivera's star is going down fast. Of course, the last thing Washington needs is more, uproar, firing him, respected guy, everything else that's going on there. But
Kelsey in the chat. Maddie, you're not going to like what Kelsey has to say. Bring up.
I rarely do.
Did anybody else see Aaron Rodgers on Wikipedia? He's officially the Bears.
I mean,
that's on the Bears. Aaron Rodgers does.
That happens after every game that they play. Somebody changes.
Mikey, what do you?
I want to comment on the MVP talk for Aaron Rodgers. I think the answer to that question is not only is he in the conversation, he becomes the league MVP if he's able to beat 2 of the 3 other candidates, which is going to be Kyler Murray, who he plays on the road, Patrick Mahomes on the road, Lamar Jackson on the road. He has to play all 3 of those guys on the road. If they somehow win 2 out of those 3 games, that's going to put this team with one of the best records in the NFL. So yes, he is in the conversation. Note that they have an absolutely miserable schedule ahead, but if they pick up wins like they should this weekend, this team is live to be one of the best teams record-wise in the NFL. And those head-to-head wins against those other candidates, like it can, whether you think he is the best player or not, if he goes in there, the record says it, and they beat those other MVP candidates head-to-head, I don't think that it's crazy to say that he should be in the MVP conversation.
And this doesn't happen every year. You just named 4 guys that he gets to play against that will be in the conversation. That doesn't always happen. So I think that's a pretty cool way to go about it. Just watch and see who looks better against who. I think that's pretty cool. Matthew, I'm going to get to your question at the end of the show. All right, he's got an LSU question. So, yes, it's an NFL show, but we do other things sometimes. By the way, real-time scoring, Dodgers, Corey Seager, 2-run home run, up 2-0 on the Braves in the bottom of the first inning. You like that, Mikey? You like that result?
I like it because I played Corey. I'm wearing the Braves hat. I'd like them to win, but I played Corey Seager in DFS. So he was one of my core 3 plays in DFS. So there you go. If someone's going to cause some damage, that is the preferred player to cause damage for sure.
Good. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. All right. We got everything going on today. Continue to hit that like button. I want to give away a couple of year-long memberships to Sportsline over the course of the next several minutes as we approach the bottom of the hour. So we got to keep moving. Maddie, I'm going to come to you. Chiefs -5.5 on the road at Tennessee. The total 56.5. I'll be honest with you. I was shocked when I saw this line this morning when I got out of bed. I was shocked based off of their lack of covering for the last 2 or 3 years and how Tennessee looked last night against Buffalo. Talk to me.
Well, speaking of MVP, I don't know what else Derrick Henry has to do to become among the favorites. I know running backs don't win anymore. He's only plus 3,000 now after everything he's been doing. He could run for 350 on the Chiefs. I mean, as bad as their defense is. As I said, I just think this will be, easily the highest scoring game. I think the highest total of the year has been 57, which was Bills Chiefs. I fully expect this to rocket past that. I mean, Chiefs games have averaged 60.2 points this season. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I think the Titans lost a couple of secondary guys last night. They can't rush the passer very well. So yeah, this will be very fun. I guess I could go to a NASCAR race instead of watch it, but
it doesn't surprise me. That's very on brand for Mikey. That's very on brand for him. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. Mikey, I know you want to weigh in. This is our squad. This is our team, and they did exactly in Washington what they did in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. Now, can they do it 2 weeks in a row? What do you think?
I mean, it's going to be a great game. I think that you saw two teams, or you have two teams here that the range of outcomes and what we've seen from them so far this season are significant, right? And I think both defenses deserve a lot of credit for how they played in their last game. The Chiefs defense was actually a lot better against that Washington football team. Titans defense was great generating pass rush there. I think that the number is inflated. People are continuing to back the Chiefs, which makes a lot of sense still. Just like I have them high in my power ratings, but it is a road game. It will be a home field advantage for the Titans in this game. I think the number at least should be 4.5. I should be probably -4. It's very interesting that we saw that movement to the Chiefs' favor today, which I mean, I kind of get it. Like anytime you get the Chiefs less than a touchdown, like if they're going to win the game, I think they can get there, but I can't bet the Chiefs at 5.5. It needs to be -4 for me to get there. So, I think it's going to be a competitive game, which is why I've got a ton of Titans teasers out there at +11.5. I don't see the Chiefs winning by more than 10 points.
RJ, this is one of the biggest games of the week. I'd love your take.
Yeah, Kansas City has trouble slowing down good rush offenses early in the year. Cleveland and Baltimore haven't faced any lately, so you can't really judge them on that. I can't see Tennessee's defense really getting any stops. I know they played pretty well against the Bills, but it's just Kansas City, and another injury. Kellen Farley got hurt, so who knows how that defense is going to slow down that passing game. But if the Kansas City defense from last week shows up, they'll cover. If not, and if it's what we've seen for most of the last year and a half from the Chiefs, the Titans are going to cover. So my lean is to the Titans and that happening, especially now that we're getting an extra point off of that weird line move. If you liked Kansas City 4.5, why not bet it on Monday? Why are you putting it in on Tuesday after you see what you saw from the Chiefs? So it's just a weird line move there. So I'm going to lean to the Titans. Hopefully we'll get a little bit better number, but I'm not really wanting to play it now because don't really like stepping in front of the Chiefs offense against a bad defense.
Yeah, I hear you. I think I lean towards the over no matter what the number is going to be because I don't think either team is going to stop either team. I think it is going to be 30+ for both. Tony, I see you, girl. I see you in the chat, girl. Tony was the one who sent in the beautiful picture of her with our Early Edge t-shirt. Stephanie, I see you. We love you too. All right, next game. This is the one, RJ, that you talked about. I'm going to come to you first. Falcons laying 2.5 in Miami. Total 47.5. Talk to me.
Miami and running for the worst team in the league, which they would have to be if you're going to make the Falcons -2.5 in Miami. But I thought Tua played well mostly. I know it was a bad defense. He gets another bad defense here. So Atlanta laid 2.5, like I said, on neutral versus the Jets. So Dolphins are not 2 to 3 points worse than the Jets. I'm not going to believe that at all. So this line doesn't make any sense to me. I think the Dolphins, I think Mikey said pick them. I think Dolphins should be favored by a little bit. I have them at 1.5 right now. And that's even after adjusting it because I was going to make them even bigger favorites. And then I'm like, nobody's going to lay points with the Dolphins. So pick them seems fine to me because nobody wants to play the Dolphins. But 2.5 just makes no sense with this Atlanta team unless they signed a bunch of new players during the break or did a bunch of trades that I didn't see because I don't know how you're going to roll in here with what they have and be winning on the road as favorites.
It must drive Matty Ice crazy that the thing he's most known for now is his commercial with Stone Cold Steve Austin instead of actually what he's doing on the football field. By the way, I wrestled Stone Cold like 3 or 4 times. Just throw it out there. All right, Mikey, I'm going to come to you. Jets and the Patriots. We've already talked about this game being at 7. I'd love to get your take on why it came out at 7 when they almost beat the Cowboys, and honestly, they probably should have. The total sitting at 42.5. CeeDee Lamb's really, really good. But I think the Patriots have found their quarterback. What do you think?
Yeah, they've definitely found their quarterback. He's done a great job so far. They've been in close games and haven't won a couple of them, but some of them no fault of his. Obviously, you could argue the pick 6 was maybe a fault of his, but still, he played very well, and he's progressed a lot since week 1. If you watch the way he's got a lot more confidence, he looks like he's going to be a good quarterback in this league at some point. I don't understand this one. I think that this one should at least be -8, -8.5, -9. I make it all the way up to -9 personally. Should be playing it. I haven't played them on the spread yet. I find it interesting that it's at 7, and as crazy as it sounds, I'm waiting to see if we somehow get a 6.5, because it was at 6.5 on DraftKings earlier today for a brief second. I'm waiting to see if we get a 6.5 on this one. Sometimes when you see crazy results like the Titans, right? The Titans last night at home took care of the Buffalo Bills. The Titans lost to the Jets. You see things like that have influences. It's typically only influencing the public and not necessarily sharp bettors, but it's very clear that someone out there that has, significant betting interest or pull definitely is interested in the Jets, because otherwise this thing would be at, 7.5 or more. I'm in the camp that believes it should be more than 7.5. I've got them in the teaser. I've got them in a parlay. I'll wait it out. If we get 6.5 though, I would play it. I think that they're clearly the better team. And I really am not that impressed with the Jets at all.
Yeah, they had one good quarter, two good quarters against Jacksonville, then laid an egg in the second half and ended up blowing that game as well. Alvaro, I see you. Don't think we don't see you. Stone Cold did not manhandle me. It was a very competitive fight. All right, maybe a little bit of a manhandle, but it was still competitive. All right. See what happens when I get excited talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin? All right, now we're coming to you, Matty, because our next game, I know it's a game that you're going to be betting the house on. This is a game that Matty Severance is looking at and saying, yes, this is my best bet of the week. Panthers, Giants. Panthers favored on the road against a Giants team that looked pathetic against the Rams. That game also at the Meadowlands. The total sitting at 43. Matty, dazzle us with analysis of this barn burner.
This one's so ugly. I think Roseanne is singing the national anthem. I would lean. Like kind of Mike was mentioning, if you kind of see a book have a weird drop. I did see one book drop this to 2.5, which would interest me because, the Giants, as we know, they can't cover at home. I don't know how Joe Judge is still employed, that he left concussed Daniel Jones in that game against the Rams when they were down 27 points. I don't know how the owner didn't go to him and say, what are you thinking? Of course, Kadarius Toney's hurt. Kenny Galladay's hurt. Saquon Barkley's hurt. They just lost Andrew Thomas, their left tackle. I know the Panthers, of course, won't have Christian McCaffrey, but at least they know that now going into the week. They don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, they've been really good on the road under Matt Rule since last season. So if this gets to 2.5, I would jump on the Panthers. But if it doesn't, I would not play it.
RJ, do you think the reason it's 3 is because the Panthers had that good fourth quarter and nearly came back and won the game? Because they looked awful for 3 quarters.
I think it's really 3 just based on the Giants, but I think people are remembering the Panthers from early in the season. Panthers are not good. Sam Darnold has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, maybe the worst quarterback in the league, non-Zach Wilson division for the last few weeks, and that's because he doesn't have McCaffrey to run on. So you come out here and they're already saying, we need to get back to running the ball. We need to change our plan. I think that shows they have no faith in Sam Darnold whatsoever. So how can you trust a team laying points on the road with Darnold at quarterback right now? I don't think you can. I think this is play the Giants or play nothing. If you're just so turned off by what you've seen from the Giants last few weeks and all those injuries, you stay away from it. They're coming off 2 brutal games, at Dallas versus the Rams. They competed versus 3 easier opponents before. They competed with Dallas before, Daniel Jones had to come out of that game. It was a close game. So I have a little more faith in this team apparently than Matt. I'm at +3. I like the Giants side. I haven't put it in yet. It was weird that the Giants looked as bad as anyone, and then it came down off the look ahead of 3 initially down to 2.5, and now it's back up to 3. So Carolina's defense started to fall apart with their cornerback injuries, secondary injuries. Their offense doesn't look good. I don't know how you lay points, just like with the Falcons laying points on the road, and you can't do it with that team. So I'm looking to play the Giants probably this week.
Sam Darnold in New York, he's going to play well. Come on.
I feel like the sports line question should be like a soccer bet where you can go Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, or
draw no bet.
Draw no bet. That's
or
exactly
the ghosts.
Right.
I was going to say, mind that this game is awfully close to Halloween for his return to New York.
Oh man, there's going to be a black cat running somewhere from the bowels of the Meadowlands there. I hate that stadium with every piece of my being. All right, we have our first winner. 100 likes. Let's get to 200 so I can give away another one. So here's our winner at _ Adobro at _Adobro. We will reach out to you on social media. Now, remember, in order to win, you've got to follow Sportsline at Twitter. Leave your Twitter handle in the comment section. And also, you got to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything's free. That's free. And then you can be eligible to win a year-long membership. Now, this next game, I want all three of you to weigh in on because this is one of the top 5 games of the week. This is really going to set the table for the rest of the season in the AFC North. I'm talking Bengals. I'm talking Ravens. Ravens are 6 currently. The total 47. RJ, start the discussion.
Yeah, the Cincinnati defense has had good stats against both the pass and the rush this year, but they have played a lot of limited offenses. And Baltimore's offense is top 5 in net yards per pass attempt and yards per rush. So I think you come in, that's a little bit too much for Cincinnati's defense to handle. I think they can win that matchup. Baltimore's defense struggled against Indy, especially given that big plays. They did hold Denver to 7. They held the Chargers to 6. So, have a little bit more faith in that defense. Power ratings here say Baltimore's a nice value. My power ratings would put it above 7. I do worry about the backdoor cover with Cincinnati's weapons. I think Jamar Chase can get free for a long touchdown at any point in any game. So Ravens could have this game, won handily, double digits, 11, 12 points. Jamar Chase scores a long touchdown and the dog cashes there. So my lean right now is to Baltimore. Still haven't decided if I'm going to play it. I know it's ticked down a little bit. I think it was 6.5 on Monday. So it seems like there is some faith that the Bengals can keep this one close with how they've looked. So maybe we get a little more line value before I hop on Baltimore, but that's the way I'm looking.
God, how good is Jamar Chase? How good? That dude is so good. Maddie, which way are you leaning on this game?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson's 5-0 against the Bengals, and they've crushed him 3 times in a row. Granted, only one of those was Joe Burrow. So I'm pretty much with RJ on this one. I don't know if you play it on the site yet, but yeah, if it gets to 7, I wouldn't touch it. But if it stays at 6, again, this will be a late week one for me. I'm on Baltimore at home.
Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, so to answer Matt's question there or concern about the line moving, I think that I don't think 7's really where it's going to go. I think if anything, it goes to 5.5 based on it being at 6 and not 6.5 currently. So if you're interested in the Ravens, just because it's 6 now versus 6.5, I would probably wait it out and watch it closely. I think it touches 5.5 for a few minutes anyway at some point. Look, the Ravens are the better team. Like RJ said, I'm very worried about the backdoor cover here. They have a number of weapons that can get loose, whether it's Chase, Mixon, even T. Higgins to some extent. Burrow can extend plays when they're in that desperation situation. So I'm not super interested right now. If it gets below 6, I could be interested. I'm very interested in teasing it, though. I think that, you have to be careful with some of these teasers that bring them down to this spot. This is not one of them. I think that the Ravens still do win this game. I think they'll be in control of this game. They're the better team. They get to play at home. I love this team playing at home, not necessarily to cover spreads, but just to flat out win football games. That's what they do on their home field. And so I'm taking them in the teasers. Right now, you bring it down to a pick 'em. They got to win the game. And I think they get that done.
I just need a yes or no from all three of you. Sportsline question: is Lamar Jackson right now the MVP? Maddie?
No, Kyler Murray is.
Mikey?
I wanted to say yes, but I need the Arizona Cardinals to lose a game first. And he played really well with the way he's been injured, but Lamar has been very, very impressive. And that team does not operate or win football games at all if he's out.
That's true. RJ, your thoughts?
I think, yes, number 1 seed in the AFC over the Bills and Chiefs at this moment. So if season froze today and they go to the playoffs as the number 1 seed, I think have a hard time arguing against them. Of course, at that point, the Cardinals are undefeated. So, it'd really be interesting to see which one of them. But for me, I would go Lamar. And if we're talking about obviously playing the odds in the market right now, we don't think Cardinals are going to finish the season 17-0. So I would be much happier putting a play on Lamar Jackson than I would Kyler Murray, with the assumption that the Cardinals are 6-0 right now. I don't think that's going to matter. But if the Ravens do get that number 1 seed, it's going to be hard for anyone but Lamar, especially with his stats putting up.
Fair enough. Dysfunctional in the chat says Josh Allen's right there. Yes, he took kind of a step back last night, played decent. But there's a lot of players, I think, right now through the first 6 weeks that have positioned themselves very, very well for an MVP run. Remember, we have that extra game this year, 17 games now in the NFL season. Now, if you followed us at Sportsline since the beginning of the season, you could have made billions of dollars with a B, which also happens to be one of my favorite shows right now on Showtime.
The chance to take someone else's power, and you can't deny that would feel good. It's not judicial.
This is personal.
Axelrod has to be wiped off the face of the earth.
You say we're partners? Then trust me.
Whatever he's going after, I'm gonna take it. I will bring him to heel. I think I love this.
And I think I love this, the Week 7 Mega NFL Preview. RJ White, M Squared, Matty Severance. I am the coach. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We've got several more games that we need to break down. So, Mikey, I'm coming to you. Eagles and the Raiders. Las Vegas, laying 3, the total 49. The Raiders, I think they shocked everybody, not just because they won the game, Mikey, but how they won the game and how well they played, how much spirit they had, how much emotion they had in Denver in beating the Broncos. Do they do it 2 weeks in a row?
I think they do. I liked the Raiders last week, and I think the team is better than the Broncos. We talked about how inflated the Broncos are and the teams that they played. The Raiders have played some decent teams. I think it's a great spot for them. It's a travel spot for Bulls, not so much of an issue going west with the later start time, but it is still a travel spot for them. My only concern is Jalen Hurts is talented. They can make big plays. They have a number of weapons that can go in there and backdoor cover. They're very good in those situations typically against non-elite teams. But yeah, I think that if you're playing this one, I make it -4.5. It's currently sitting at -3. I think it's a good number. I think Hurts gets a lot of respect. I'm very interested to see. I know that at the tight end position, Zach Ertz is no longer there. Goddard is returning. I don't trust the Eagles team, and I really like the Raiders. I think that they're frankly a better team without John Gruden running and calling the plays and calling everything over there. So I like this Raiders team. I think they take care of business at home. I haven't played it. I haven't laid it at -3, but there is a solid point of value. Also, obviously, through that key number. So if I was going to play it, it would certainly be with the Raiders.
Yeah, that old saying that, by subtraction, you certainly have addition. And that is the case, I think, with the Raiders. I think you're absolutely onto something there. That's going to be the first of the 4 o'clock games on Sunday. The next one, Matty, this number is huge. I can't believe it because of how the Lions played against the Bengals. So the Rams, they absolutely lay the wood on the Giants in New York. They're now laying 15 at home against the Lions, late game, total sitting at 50.5. Talk to me.
Well, I love the Lions under team total here for sure. They've scored 17 points or fewer in 5 straight. It's hard to imagine Jared Goff getting more than that against the Rams. Jared Goff still hasn't won a game under anyone but Sean McVay, by the way. It's the first time the Lions are +14 or higher since 2010. I generally take this many points, like I say, just for the late cover or whatever. I wonder if Goff's on the precipice of being pulled for David Blau, for God's sake. The way Campbell called him out the other day. I mean, I can't imagine he would do it in Los Angeles, but Campbell wants to make a point, I guess. I don't really have a big feeling on this right now, other than the Lions team total right now.
Well, right now the Rams are looking. Yeah, they're looking like geniuses, aren't they, Matty, that they made the trade? They look amazing. Matthew Stafford has really reinvigorated himself. And Jared Goff. Yeah, exactly right. Great call. All right, I think that one screams stay away. That one screams stay away at 15. All right, RJ, let's come back to you. Texans at the Cardinals, another humongous number, 18.5. Mikey already made the joke about teasing it up to 25. That's insane. What are your thoughts here? The total of 47.5.
Yeah, I think it was fair to have some doubts on Arizona over the last few weeks, whether they were as good as they've shown. I'm completely sold on them now, but I'm never going to lay this many points in a game in the NFL. So I think you're either looking Houston or you're staying away from here. After the Week 5 outlier, though, Arizona scored 30+ in 5 of their 6 games. Houston has scored less than 10 in 3 of their last 4. So besides how those teams looked in Week 5, this could be a 20-point margin, if you just look at the rest of those games. But you just have such a small margin for error with a line this big. And Houston can get through the back door pretty easily. I'm not completely sold on Arizona secondary, especially they're going into this game. They know they're going to win. Why play hard in the second half if you're up big? And Houston can cover there. So I think you really only look Houston if you feel like playing this game, or you just stay away from it.
There is nothing worse than being 34-10 and then have them score a touchdown with 30 seconds to go, win by 17 and not cover. That's the worst. That is the worst. That's why you stay away.
The worst is the Eagles going for 2 for no freaking reason.
Oh, gosh. We scream at the TV.
It did actually make sense, but it's still
a perfect reason.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. Unless you're laying 6.5. Mike, you got something?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment here and more of my rationale. Obviously, the number is inflated. You're not going to bet it. It probably only should be 16, but you're still not laying 18.5 in the NFL. But a reason why I like the teaser here, we've mentioned the tough schedule for Green Bay. Part of the reason their schedule is tough is because the next week they play the Green Bay Packers. And if they're ahead in this game, they're not going to risk any injury ahead of that matchup. That's a matchup that they're going to win. They're going to want to win. They're on their home field. It's more comfortable when you're on your home field to go ahead and pull people and let some of the other people, other players come in and play and finish this game out. So I don't expect them to take a ton of risk late in the fourth quarter. They will through 3 quarters for sure, but I don't expect them to continue to do that late into the fourth quarter. So that's why I love the teaser here at 24.5, 23.5 if you have to settle for that. But I hope we're not looking at a 28-0 game, which is still very possible with these teams.
Very
possible. I think the Texans will get the job done and put up 14 points.
All right, very good. I have another random winner in our chat. Somebody who's been very, very active through the first 45 minutes at Big Stroobs 26. At Big Stroobs 26. Johnny, our guy, is always keeping an eye on everybody in the chat. We're going to reach out to you. Remember, leave those Twitter handles. Follow us at Sportsline. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's all you got to do to be a part of the Sportsline family. All right, 3 games left. Then we'll have a bonus question for my guys. Now, this number is another huge number, Mikey. Over 12 for the Bucs at home against Matty's Bears. The total sitting at 47. Talk to me.
Another similar one where I think that the back door is open in this one. I don't love it. I'm not playing this game no matter what. If you wanted to tease it, I think that you can with the Bears, not with the Buccaneers. It's one where they should win it pretty comfortably, but how much will they really keep the foot on the pedal in this game? Because they're probably not going to need to. I think that this number, it probably should be 10.5 if I'm being completely honest with you. It's one that they could easily still cover. The Bucs can, but I don't have any interest in playing it. I think that it's going to get. What?
Sorry, question.
That was so funny, Matty. That timing was amazing. He's laughing at the Sportsline question while you're giving your take.
I saw it. I was like, I didn't know if I made a mistake and said something about Taylor Lewan for the Bears or not.
Oh, hey, easy, Chris Broussardi. Easy. Oh, gosh. That may have been, and I worked with him a lot. I like Chris, but that was one of the biggest boneheaded comments I've ever seen on TV, ever. People missed it. He said Taylor Lewan played for the Bills and was not in the game during the last play last night. It could not have been more wrong. He plays for the Titans.
One note about the Bears. Quinn's on the COVID list, so that makes it even less of a chance. They have a chance. I'd probably go to this game if I wasn't so dismayed with the team right now. But
I know you're dismayed, Manny. But I wanted to ask you a serious question because last week for part of the game they were very competitive with the Packers, and Justin Fields at times looked confident. How have you rated how Justin Fields has played as a starter?
Well, I don't think you can rate him because Nagy won't take the handcuffs off. He wouldn't take the handcuffs off Foles. He wouldn't take the handcuffs off Trubisky. He's got his guy supposedly, and they won't do anything. And then the 2 times he threw deep downfield, the receiver cut the other way, and it was intercept the end zone. One didn't count. So, I don't think we've seen anything yet. They're on their 3rd string running back. They just have no creativity. I believe now they're at 23 out of 57 games under Nagy under 20 points. So they're not scoring 20 points this week. There's no chance.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, we got 2 games to get to as we are about 10 minutes from the top of the hour. I love this hour every single week. It's so informational, and this is really where you start putting together what games you're going to play and your game plan. You got to have a game plan for what games you're going to play and how you're going to do your bankroll every single week. So, Manny, let's come back to you. Colts, 49ers, San Francisco laying 3.5. They did not play last week. The Colts looked really, really good. The total sitting at 47. Talk to me.
Well, I'll ask Mike, and RJ what they think, if it's Lance or Garoppolo, if they think the line will move. I know we don't know yet. Lance hurt his knee before the bye. He did not practice today. Garoppolo did, so it sounds like it might be Jimmy G in there. It's just interesting how these franchises kind of address the quarterback. The 49ers gave up King's ransom to move up and get Lance, and the Colts maybe only gave up a second-round pick to get Wentz. The Colts have looked good. You're right. They're riding Jonathan Taylor as they should. The 49ers are supposed to get a lot of guys back off the bye week. I just don't like this number as it is, and I'm definitely going to wait to see who's at quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have a take on 49ers and what they're doing with that quarterback situation?
I think that Jimmy G probably gets the keys to the offense again, the way it looks. But I think that if they're both active and healthy, I think we're going to see a timeshare. I think there's going to be situations where Lance comes in and plays in the red zone a little bit too, like they did early in the season. I would say based off the line right here, books probably are trying to beg you to take Colts plus 3.5.
Yeah.
I would take the Colts if I had to, but I don't love this spot. I think it's right. I think the number is right on, to be honest with you.
I'm getting the feeling from you guys this week that there's only a few games that we can really bet on this week and feel comfortable doing that. And obviously that's why you put in so many teasers, Mikey. And sometimes you have weeks like that where the numbers just don't fit what we want to do. RJ, let's come to you for the last game on our slate. Saints and the Seahawks. And I know, Mike, you got to play on this game too. Seahawks laying 5 at home. Got to give them a lot of credit. Down 14-0 Sunday night in Pittsburgh. They could have packed it up. They could have just gone home and said, hey, it's Geno Smith. They didn't do that. They nearly won. Pittsburgh kicking a field goal to win. The total at 43.5. RJ, talk to me. Oh, no. He pulled a J Smooth on the last game of the day. Are we good now? RJ, you there? Oh, Johnny, we got to unmute him.
It doesn't show that he's on mute. It must be just a technical issue.
Okay.
I know the Saints are getting a ton of guys back off the bye, except for Michael Thomas.
I'll take it a little bit from him because I know I listened to RJ earlier, all his power ratings.
Okay, go ahead.
Basically, what RJ was going to say there is that the Saints are completely overvalued and the Seahawks are undervalued. His line from the power ratings, he makes the Saints only -1 here. So he has a lot of value on the Seahawks getting the 5 points on their home field. Doesn't trust Jameis on the road in these conditions. It's still one of the tougher places to go in and win a game. So, yes,
but how do we know that, though?
Sunset is coming down out those windows. It's hitting me in the face right now, so I'm trying to dodge it.
It looks really cool. It actually looks very cool on camera. We'll get back to RJ, but Maddie, I know you were getting ready to say something too. What were you saying?
Well, just it is a tough place to play, but we don't really know when it's a quarterback other than Wilson, other than the couple of drives Geno had 2 weeks ago. And the Saints, I was looking today, they're getting almost everyone back from injury. Will Lutz, they're half their defense. The only one who's probably not back is Michael Thomas. So, but I would agree. I think 5 points is a little bit too much, but I would definitely favor the Saints in this game to win it. Maybe a money line play if it comes down far enough.
All right, this is Monday Night Football. RJ, you're back in. I think you're good now. You can continue.
You got my audio now?
Yep, we're good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, so apparently I was having mic issues earlier, and so Johnny asked me to unplug and plug it in. I wasn't muted. I just, whatever reason, doing that didn't get any. I could hear you guys in my headset, but for whatever reason the mic wasn't picking up. So glad it's fixed now. I was ready to count Seattle out after the first half on Sunday. They played well in the second half. I don't think they're sunk. New Orleans shot Green Bay in week 1. They've been pretty uneven since. Haven't played that tough a schedule in that. Seattle sounds like they want to run more. New Orleans defense is number 1 in yards per attempt, so this is not the week to do that. So, but if they stick to that game plan, I like my pick of Seattle +5 a little less. But this is a tough environment for New Orleans. Playing primetime in Seattle against a desperate team. I do think New Orleans is the better team. But in order for this line to make sense of my ratings, Seattle has to be Jacksonville level bad, and I don't think that they are. So that's why I had a best bet on Seattle +5. I just think they're giving the Saints way too much credit with this number.
Would you play it right now, or would you wait?
I think play it now. I think the sharps are going to come in on the Seahawks. I don't think the public is going to be able to push this one up too much because -5 is a lot to lay in this game with the Saints. So I think it comes down probably in the range of 4. It might settle in the 3.5 to 4. So I think get it in now.
It seems like you and Mike don't care much about bye week, coming off a bye week. You don't value it that much, huh? Would that be accurate to say?
Yeah, I think that it probably mattered more back in the day. Now I think it's just a thing of unless you're dealing with a lot of bad injuries, and maybe Michael Thomas comes back in this game, they activate him, and he really makes a difference for that offense. But unless something fundamentally changes with the roster, I don't think just the fact of getting a week of rest is really that big a deal. It does the numbers. I don't think bear it out to where the bye week teams are covering more coming off that bye. And I actually think that probably it's a little bit overrated. People will build that into the lines too much to be getting that extra rest. And like we saw in that Miami travel spot, I think that Mikey mentioned earlier, I think it's built too much into the line there. So yeah, I find value with playing against that trend.
Mikey?
Yeah, and I will say when you're looking at bye weeks like that, what I would love to see is a bye week sandwich between two home games. This is not the case for them. It's a road game still. If they had a bye week and got to stay home and prep at home all week and play at home, I do think that there's some validity to that. But this is a primetime game on the road in one of the more hostile environments for a team to come enter in the league. Seattle's still a tough place to go play and win a primetime game. So I can tell you, I don't have a play on it right now. I tend to agree with RJ here. I don't make it all the way down as far as he does, but I think that the Saints should be -3 to -3.5 is a number that I would be kind of comfortable with. Again, I'm not ready to say that the Seahawks are still completely competent. Yes, they played pretty well in that second half. So I'll tell you what I'm likely going to end up doing. If you're someone who watches our Monday night show, which you should, I can tell you right now, this one will be in my same game parlay. And I will be taking the Seahawks up over +10. I'll be bringing that total down to 37.5 or lower. As I think that those are going to be good numbers. I think that the total at 43.5 is going to be very efficient. It's not going to be one of the highest scoring games, but I am pretty confident that we're going to be able to get it to that 37, 38 number. And I do think the Seahawks keep it within 10 points.
Speaking of Monday, big shout out. I know many of you watching right now also tune in live for that show. Last night, we had the largest audience that we've ever had. We broke a record last night. So thank you to all of you who tune in live every single week. And every week we're growing and growing and growing. And we can't thank you enough because we put in a lot of hard work and you guys love it and you appreciate it. So thank you so much. Before we put up the recap one more time, Mikey, a bonus question from the chat that apparently at Caesars and other sports books you can bet on who's going to be the next coach for LSU. Dabo today said, I don't want it. I'm not the favorite. I don't care about it. I'm worried about my own Death Valley. Very quickly, do you have any handicapping or have you even thought about – you're shaking your head no. You haven't thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you know me, like – who coaches the LSU football team is the furthest thing from my mind. I could care less about that. But fortunately, we do have someone on the show right now that does deal with this kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis. And that is the lady killer, Matt Severance. So I'll let him take this one because he's going to have a way more intelligent answer than I will.
I love it. Maddie, what do you got?
Yeah, we ran a story today. James Franklin's the favorite, unless he wants to go to LSU or to USC, which I don't think he will. Some books had Mel Tucker. I don't think that's a grand slam enough hire for Scott Woodward, who previously hired Chris Peterson, previously hired Jimbo Fisher. I know he wants Fisher. He's his buddy. But, I mean, if there's one school that can outspend LSU, it's Texas A&M. I don't think Fisher's going to leave there. I mean, he claimed he wasn't. That doesn't mean much. Nick Saban said he wasn't leaving the Dolphins. So right now we think James Franklin's the favorite.
Okay, very good. All those articles, you can get it, by the way, at Sportsline. Become a member. It's the best value in all of sports. Everything Maddie just said, you can get in the articles there. Every sport, every analysis that you could possibly imagine, we have it at Sportsline. Any question you could have, we have the answer for it. All right, let's throw up the recap one more time. Here are our official plays from the show right now. RJ is on the Patriots, Dolphins, Seahawks, and the Raiders. And then you see all those teasers from Mikey: Titans, Texans, Titans, Dolphins, Texans, Dolphins, Ravens, Patriots, and a money line parlay. That means just betting the three teams just to win the game: Patriots, Ravens, and the Packers. And that comes back at +120. All right, we like to close out every single show with 30 seconds from each one of my guys or ladies on what they're most looking forward to or some advice that they might have for you at home. So, Maddie, how about you start the go-around here?
Tonight's about NBA for me. I can't wait. I'm on the Lakers and Bucks tonight. I'm interested to see how the Nets do without Kyrie Irving and how Russell Westbrook will fit in with LeBron and Anthony Davis. So I like to think about his NBA today, to be honest with you.
All right. So I'm going to – if you're betting the Lakers, -3.5, right?
I'm taking the money line. Take that out of
You're taking the money line, and then you like the Bucs tonight on the money line because that was like 1.5, wasn't it? Something like that. Okay, very good. I'm going to play those too. I love those picks. Thanks, Matty. RJ, what are you most looking forward to, either for the week or for tonight? Whatever.
Yeah, well, we're hoping the Braves, win this game. That's what I'm most looking forward to. Win the series. That would make my week. Looking forward to getting the stink of last week out of my mouth because it was a bad week with all those favorites covering early, and it just picks. It seems like the favorites I did go for did not come through. Teams like the Steelers and Bills. So even though we got closing line value, you take it all in aggregate, and you're just looking to get that closing line value. And I think I was like on the lines where it was different from the actual spread. I think it was like 7-4. I got the value and just everything. So you're going to have those weeks once a year. You just got to power through it and not change what you're doing too much because you have a good strategy. You have a good process, and just be convinced that most weeks are going to go like regular NFL weeks. Are not going to go like last week.
And that's exactly right. We can't tell you at home enough that trust the process, money management, keep every bet the same. You're going to have really good winning weeks, which we win almost all the time, but you're also going to have some tough weeks, as RJ just said. So stay calm. Don't chase money management. Mikey, bring us home.
Yeah, I just laughed that Chief somehow always knows when the show is about to end. If he hasn't spoken up, he feels like he has to get his screen time. He's smart. He knows how to make that money.
I love it.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to these baseball games tonight. I'm looking forward to the NBA tipping off. I gave an under out on the show today when you were gone. I'd like to give those out when you're sleeping. But I thought you were going to get at Matt Severance there. He gave you his NBA plays. The way you started talking, I thought you were going to say, okay, perfect. I'm taking the other both of those, but you didn't do it to him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the week. I think it's a good teaser week with some of these dogs. I like it a little bit. I don't love the week, but I love the teasers that I've got in. And I think there are a few really, really ugly games out there. And the thing I want to give you advice on is you don't have to bet every single game. It's okay if you only have 3 games this week. It's totally okay.
I think that's the number one thing that as a part of this team that I've learned the most, because I used to be that guy. I would bet every game on the board because I felt like I had to. You don't have to. You don't have to. Bet the games you feel most comfortable with, or you have the best information with as well, and you have the value. All right, you know what time it is. We are up against it. There's only one thing left to do. Oh, don't forget, college football show tomorrow, Thursday Night Football, Early Edge Live. We got it every single day. Prop show on Friday. You've got your marching orders for the entire week. Let's take all of these NFL tickets straight to the pay window. For my man, the lady killer, Matty Severance, RJ White, the stoic one, M Squared, and Chief, and Johnny, the producer to the stars. I am the coach. This is the only brand you need. It's the Early Edge, powered by Sportsline. We'll see you tomorrow morning live, 10 a.m. on the Early Edge. Good luck. Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.